Libertarians don't care about the poor, they say. Now, cutting to the chase, this is a stupid ass quote that is constantly tossed out there by non-libertarians, especially leftists. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to prove how the quote is wrong, putting me on the defense. I'd much rather just express how idiotic the actual quote is. The idea stems from the fact that libertarians oppose the welfare state, and the welfare state is often advocated by leftists to highlight how much they care about the poor because, well, generally speaking, that's who it targets. So because right now the state has this crappy safety net that is aimed at the poor, if you oppose it, then you do not care about the poor according to them. This nonsense completely ignores why it is that we oppose the welfare state in the first place. Let's start with the principle. Libertarians oppose aggression. The welfare state forcefully confiscates people's money via taxation and relocates the money to the people that qualify for the welfare. They also borrow the assets of the unborn through the Federal Reserve because it allows them to monetize their debt. So the taxation itself that is used to pay for these social programs was collected with an act of aggression. That is the threat of jail time in the event that you don't pay for it, and if you resist, they will absolutely shoot you ultimately. It's a death threat. You can say that, well, other things like roads are also paid for via taxation. Well, libertarians oppose the state funding those punk ass roads too. It doesn't matter what it is going to, welfare, warfare, or the roads. We oppose the way it is funded through the threats of violence. That's on principle alone as to why we oppose it. It has nothing to do with hating or not caring about the poor. But economically, we oppose the welfare state because it subsidizes being poor. Therefore, it incentivizes it. It says, so as long as you meet a certain qualification, you will get the welfare. But the minute you no longer qualify, such as making too much money, they strip it away. So in this way, the welfare state encourages poverty, and this is why through spending trillions of dollars a year annually on entitlement programs, there's still poor people in America of all age groups. So the opposition of the welfare state does not equal not caring about the poor. You can be a charitable person and still be a libertarian. You can focus all of your efforts on tending to the poor and be a libertarian, so as long as you aren't forcing people at gunpoint to fund your ideals. This should be a fundamental concept, but I think that maybe people are telling on themselves when they say that people wouldn't help the poor in a free society. Maybe you wouldn't help the poor, which goes to show that you're the one that doesn't care about the poor, as you need government forcing you to give them money. If someone has to force you, that's not altruism at all. Stop fronting. Libertarians want to get rid of these ridiculous taxes and regulations that hurt the poor. It hurts them the most when it comes to starting and legally functioning a business, which impedes on their economic freedom and mobility. Libertarians want to get rid of these petty laws, such as these drug laws, which tend to target poorer people. So I can make the argument on net, a libertarian can by default care more about the poor than those that cling to the government as if it's the only entity that can help the poor. Opposing something that the state does not automatically mean that we oppose the idea in theory. We oppose the means that is. Individuals should be able to act freely and do what they want with the money they rightfully earn. It doesn't matter if they want to spend it all on the poor or their family, or they want to just keep it and not spend it. Wealth is not some fixed pie, and just because someone else chooses to do one thing with their money does not inherently mean you can't do something else with yours. So I'll end with this classic quote by Frederick Bastiat, which is still relevant. Socialism, like the ancient ideas from which it springs, confuses the distinction between government and society. As a result of this, every time we object to a thing being done by the government, the socialists conclude that we object to its being done at all. We disapprove of state education. Then the socialists say that we are opposed to any education. We object to a state religion. Then the socialists say that we want no religion at all. We object to a state enforced equality. Then they say that we are against equality, and so on and so on. It is as if the socialists were to accuse us of not wanting persons to eat because we do not want the state to raise grain.